Chapter 82. Education. Summary. Someone is going to actually teach them about space stuff? After what, 6 months in space? About fucking time. They could just be short? A sentient with enough holes to rival Swiss cheese ventures into the shocked silence. Nope, says the alien in the front, long yellow tongue flicking out in front of them. I can taste it on the air. Their brains aren't even close to finishing development. Ah, a buff sentient in a flowing jacket says. This certainly complicates things. What is it with random aliens knowing they aren't technically adults? Izuku's sure they don't have the life cycle of a Terran memorized, so how can they know? Did it have to do with tasting their age? Izuku would have to ask the yellow person later. If they were not turned away right now for their age, that was. Makes sense now why Sokka requested we specifically oversee their admission. Swiss cheese adds. Of course they're kids. Wait, Sokka, the green pirate from a month back? Before Izuku can ask about her, though, Denki lets out an offended, "Hey!" before continuing on. We can still kick y'all's butt! Mina squares her shoulders, standing tall. What he said! It looks like Ochako is going to follow suit, but the jacket alien speaks up first. We don't doubt your skills. We have plenty in our ranks who aren't fully grown. The youth are the boldest among us, after all. We just have certain extra criteria and steps that must be followed before we can officially welcome you into the guild and onto the battlefield. That was unexpected. When Izuku pictured a space pirate guild, he'd expected isolated, tight-knit groups with little communication between them. The kind of join and if you don't die, you're good kind of thing. Not whatever this was. But he wasn't exactly complaining at the prospect of joining an organized and responsible community. Kachan looked like he was about to speak up, so Izuku cut in first. He knew the look on the blonde's face, and he was definitely going to say something less than polite. That sounds reasonable. What kind of requirements do you have? The Holy One speaks up, a faint whistling sound filling the air as they shift on their feet. Most are basic things. You won't believe how many teens never bothered with learning written basic if it wasn't their first language. Haha, yeah, couldn't be us. Ochako laughs stiffly. Anyway, the one with the yellow tongue spoke. It shouldn't take too long to run through everything. With all we've heard, it's honestly hard to picture you six as those near gods we've been hearing about. You must be experts at branding. Izuku saw Denki do a little fist pump in the corner of his eye. Well, shall we begin? What year did the Galactic Alliance form? Sun Yu, the yellow-tongued alien, asked. For very much not the first time that day, the room was filled with silence. Ochako had to admit, this was the worst she'd ever done on a test. They'd barely passed the written and spoken basic tests the pirates had given them, filled with more crime and tech and law-focused words than your standard language test. But this basic history and current social climate test? Yeah, they had no fucking clue what was going on. The most Ochako knew about space laws was the ones surrounding building codes and safety regulations, but it's not like there are many, if any, questions on the matter. Honestly, Mina was doing the best. Guess you hear about a lot of gossip about hot universal topics as a professional dancer. Still, Mina alone couldn't make up for the group's general ignorance when it came to what was actually going on in the world they'd been thrown into. All they had was isolated information heard in passing which did not translate to enough knowledge to pass this portion of the guild's test. Sun Yu sighed, putting down the tablet they'd been reading off. Yeah, we're not letting you fuck around in space without knowing at least what laws you're breaking and who you're pissing off. Katsuki slammed a hand on the table the teens were sitting at. We've come all this way and you're turning us away because we couldn't pass a fucking history class? Fucking bullshit! Slow down. Sunyu urged, holding all 4 of their blue hands up in surrender. No one said anything about turning you 6 away. We're testing you all on the things the adults in your life should have taught you. Just because you don't know this doesn't mean we're going to punish you for their shortcomings. You're obviously more than capable in other areas, so we'll help you up to speed here. Izuku hesitantly ventured. Going to teach us history? Yep, Sunyu said. And by the looks of things, a whole bunch more you should have learned in school. And I'm guessing you didn't get formal training to fly that ship of yours? Does listening to our cousins read out a manual and proceeding to nearly make everyone on board throw up count? Denki asked. Sunyu's long ears drooped. I'll take that as a no. They sighed, tongue slipping briefly out of their mouth. We don't exactly do this kind of thing often, but when a promising group with strong moral code and disregard for the law comes along, we make an exception. Without missing a beat, Ochako cheered, Crime! Right alongside Denki. The sound of Katsuki letting his face fall against the desk was unmistakable. With all you 6 need to catch up on, Sunyu continued, seemingly unfazed by her and Denki's outburst. It will take a few days at the least to get you all caught up before your final exam. Exam? Denki groaned. Yes, the blue and yellow alien continued. My crew will be taking you 6 along with us on an assignment to see how you really perform out in the field. Stories are good and all, but we need to see what you 6 can really do. They'd secured their ship for the long haul after all the tests and settled in for lunch. There was a mix of excitement and hesitance on the air that Izuku didn't exactly know what to make of. It was honestly just hard to pull himself away from all the new information running through his brain long enough to focus on it. Like how space, as the universe knows it now, has only been around for 1,000 years. Before the Galactic Alliance, it was a lawless wasteland, according to the official history, but that image was a little hard to keep watertight when there were the odd species who lived centuries and had real records from the time. The bits and pieces the guild had access to actually reminded Izuku of the bits of knowledge of early human history that still had a record after the Quirk Wars. The Galactic Alliance seemed less like order finally spreading throughout space and more like, say, Great Britain going out and colonizing most of the planet, which, wait, right, he was supposed to be focused on the weird vibe around the ship. Really? That's great! Mina enthused about something. But when is Sunyu going to have the time to show you? I already know all the functions for the ship and how to run it. When you all are going over How to Ship 101, she's going to teach me all about the particle barrier. Mei grinned. When Denki waved her direction, she didn't hesitate to throw a purple little vegetable across the table, which he promptly tried, and failed, to catch in his open mouth. And when we're done with that, they're going to show me around the base. So many different styles of tech to study. Though I'm not sure why they're all so separate. The best tech is made from mushing all different styles and ideas together until it stops blowing up. You're sure you're going to have enough time to look at everything you want? Ochako asked, throwing another purple vegetable towards Denki and cheering along with him when he caught it. Katsuki glared at his plate. By the sounds of it, we're going to be here for a while. But it'll be worth it, right? Izuku said, finally feeling caught up enough to join in the conversation. We'll be learning a lot, and it's things that are really important. We can't just exist in our own little bubble anymore. The blonde sighs. Yeah, I know it'll be worth it. It still ticks me off that we have to stay in one place for so long. We're still months away from Terra. I think we can all agree our original estimate was way off, Ochako says. We're going to get home one day, but that day isn't going to be anytime soon. At this point, it's more of a space road trip than a sprint to our end goal. An educational space road trip, Mei says. By the end of this, my babies will be better than ever, and your hitting things will be unmatched as well. Yeah, we're practically gonna be pros by the time we get home at this rate. Mina smiled. Space pros, Denki chimes. If getting attacked by villains had forced their class to mature and improve faster, getting kidnapped and stranded in space had done that on a whole new level.